Hello, and welcome back to A Foreborn Life. This is part 2 of executing my garden plan. Today, I'm going to be laying out the landscape fabric for my pathways. And this is my best advice. If you are going to use landscape fabric, please don't waste your time with cheap, inexpensive landscape cloth. Last year, in some areas of my garden, which in the front, I was making my faux front porch, and in my staging area where I do my planting, I use the cheap landscape cloth. Previous years, I've been using cardboard. Well, cardboard does work, but it's going to deteriorate and the weeds are going to come through. So in those two areas, I chose to use the landscape cloth. And when I went out this spring to start cleaning the yard back up, I noticed all the weeds and I thought that there was a hole inside of the cloth. But guess what? There were no holes in it. The weeds were growing on top of the cloth. The roots had anchored themselves into the cloth and were growing on top of it. And I just couldn't believe that. So because I am putting so much money, time, and effort into these garden pathways, I decided not to be cheap. And I went out and I purchased the premium heavy-duty weed barrier for these pathways, because my plan is that next spring, I do not want to have to spend all of my time pulling weeds, because that's just too much work when there's other things that I could be doing besides just pulling weeds. So if I could prevent it this year, that's what I'm going to do. When you use this premium heavy-duty weed barrier, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm using a blowtorch. My husband had bought this fancy blowtorch, because when you use this premium heavy-duty weed barrier, if you cut it, it frays really bad, and then it's like it's sort of wasting your money. You should use the blowtorch to cut the pieces apart. So that's what I'm doing. I'm using a blowtorch so that I can separate it where I need it to be separated, as opposed to cutting, because it's going to fray. As I stated in part 1 of executing my garden plan, restructuring your garden once you've already had it established and you're trying to redo it and make new plans. So putting in this weed cloth meant that I had to go back and pull back up some of the garden blocks, because I wanted to make sure that the weed cloth came up underneath the boards and into the flower bed, so that way it would be like a barrier. So once I place the river pebbles in, that they're not going to go into my flower bed. So I was pulling the boards back up, pulling the weed cloth up under the boards. So you really have to just keep moving things and readjusting it and trying to get everything in the right position. If you are a new gardener and you can go ahead and lay out some of this hardscape ahead of time, it's best to do so. But if not, just be prepared and just have lots of patience, because it's going to take a little bit more work than you planned. I hope that you like my video and that you will come back and subscribe, don't forget to give it the thumbs up. Come back where I will be doing part 3, where we're going to put down the pebbles, and we're also going to put down the pavers. Thanks for watching.